Now, ladies and gentlemen, since the dawn of time and the birth of Counter-Strike all the way back in 2012, Valve has struggled to balance the weapons on both the T and CT side to make it very fair. But most importantly, instead of one side having a very strong and overpowered weapon, it just comes down to personal performance. If you do bad, you do bad. You end up losing. And of course, strategical gameplay. If you can't counter-strat the other team and have very interesting and unique strategies, you're going to end up losing, rather than having one weapon that just dominates everything else. And well, recently, with the Rio Major being played, we've seen the power of the M4A1s and what that thing can do. Most maps in Counter-Strike are very heavily CT-sided, especially on the defusal maps. But recently, the M4 has been blown out of proportion in my personal opinion. We're seeing pros pick up M4s instead of AKs on both the CT and T side for multitudes of different reasons. And in today's video, I want to talk about a possible meta change that I think can happen in the next upcoming future, possibly with an operation coming soon, maybe if not just on its own, the singular update, and some changes we could see, some different options, price decreases, buffs and nerfs of other weapons to help that out, and possibly maybe even nerfing the damage of the M4A1s. But before we do so and go any further, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that like button and of course subscribe. And here's a quick word from our video sponsor, Skins Monkey.
Now today's video sponsor is of course Skins Monkey. Skins Monkey is currently the easiest and also fastest way you can buy, but most importantly trade your CSGO skins. All you have to do is make sure you have your trade link, and on your first trade, if you have a leftover balance, it goes towards your current balance that can be used the next time you end up trading skins. It has 3 ways you can inspect, but most importantly has a very in-depth inspect feature that you can see corners on a karambit for an example that you can't really see otherwise unless you have the item in game. If you end up topping up your balance, make sure to use promo code MANDO to get up to a 35% deposit bonus and a free $5 on the first trade.
So for the past 5 or 6 years of competitive Counter-Strike, the M4A4 and the A1S has been at a war with each other. It's always been one versus the other. Someone likes to spray and pray, someone likes to one-tap and get those headshots. And the M4A1S, I feel like over time has just overall been a way better of a weapon. 1, because you don't really have to spray with it, but 2, it's very easy to trace through smokes, and 3, it's very easy for beginners. There's not a whole lot of sprays involved. It's kind of just, you kind of go and you aim at the person, they're going to end up dying. But the struggle with these two has been very real. Right now, the game Counter-Strike is actually at a very good spot. The game is very well balanced besides these two weapons, really. We've gone through situations like with the R8 where it's been insanely overpowered. We've gone from the AWP being an insanely overpowered weapon where you could walk, pretty much run and gun with it, to where you have to be kind of steady, sitting in one place, and play a lot more passive. The Krieg and the AUG, of course, have had their time to shine, and they could have their time to shine once again because of this possible nerf. The past week during the Rio Major, we've really seen what this weapon can do on the pro level. CTs are not picking up AKs. They'll most likely just pick up an AWP or keep their A1Ss. And Ts, sometimes they like to pick up an A1S, but a lot of time they are. Sometimes lurkers or someone playing a little more passive on the T side will pick that up, so the CTs won't really know where they're coming from. And I think this is actually why during the Rio Major, it's been so hard to predict with the pick'ems because of this said weapon. And I'm not the only one who thinks a meta change should happen or needs to happen anytime soon. Now let's talk about some possibilities that I think could happen to either buff or nerf every other weapon in the game to match the A1S. So the first one is kind of obvious, but I think the SG could use some sort of buff or price decrease to make it on par with the A1S. The problem with the A4 on the CT side is you can't trace through smokes with that. That's why the A1S is so good. If you aim at a certain spot and you kind of just tap, you know where that bullet's going 99% of the time. If you have an AK, sometimes a bullet can go up, down, left, or right, especially if you're not standing still. The spray is kind of random, and especially through a smoke, if you don't have X-ray or have walls, it's very hard to see. And the SG would do a very good job of that to counter smokes and also to have that, but for the T side. But that would also change up the meta and change how we play quite a bit. A very unlikely situation, but I think could possibly happen, is the M4A1S gets some sort of nerf with damage. It's very, very powerful. They've already nerfed the fire rate. They've nerfed the magazine size, but what more can they do with it? If they nerf the damage anymore, or nerf the damage range for an example, so you have to shoot 2 more shots at a longer distance, people are just going to switch to the M4A4. Then you can also have both the M4s in the same price, but I feel like still people are going to go with the M4A1S because it is superior. You can still spray and pray, you can still hit headshots, you can still track through smokes. Another possibility is making the A1S maybe a couple $100 more than the M4A4, but decreasing the M4A4 price, or making it like $100 or $200 cheaper. That would incentivize people to use the M4A4 for spraying and praying, and you have maybe 1 or 2 guys in each team using the A1S. And I think one of the best options, and the final one for today's video, video, is reducing the magazine size once again, which it used to be 30 back in the day, then 25. They reduced it to 20 with the beginning of Operation Riptide when they nerfed the deagle as well. Instead of 20 bullets in one magazine, they have 15, which this sounds pretty horrible. It sounded pretty horrible as well when we got the initial buff just a few months ago. But I think this could benefit quite a bit of people. It could benefit the T side as well, make it a little more fair, and make your shots count with the A1S a lot more. You won't be spraying and praying through smokes as much anymore because, one, you don't have as many bullets, but if someone pushes it, you're not going to have the bullets to shoot back. But also, you're probably not going to have any more than 3 magazines in the entire weapon or with you on your kit. I think I would possibly still use the M4A1S just because of how good it is, but I think a lot of other people would switch, especially at the pro level. Those who want to spray through smokes, those who want to play a little more aggressive, they'll have more ammo and more bullets to work with. I think the M4A4 has had a long time in the dark, and it's time for it to shine once again. I would like to see it happen in the next little while. And during the Rio Major, it's just simply not going to happen. They're not going to mess with the professional level. They'll do it sometime after. And with an operation possibly coming, it'd probably be the best time to do it. And with that being said, if you guys are interested in picking up possibly an M4A4 skin, if there's a skin you really, really like, I suggest you pick it up now. Because worst case scenario, if there isn't some sort of buff or nerf to anything in the game, you just sell it for what you bought it for in a couple weeks, maybe a month. Maybe you try it out and get warmed up with it a little bit. Because when the magazine size got reduced by 5, people were going absolutely crazy. So think of something that would happen to the damage on the weapon on how much prices would go up for the M4A4, at least for the short term. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys would suggest for some sort of change in the meta. Love to hear what you guys think. Talk to you guys later. Peace out.